Hello, it's Carian here, with the update 1.12.3 patch notes that wrecked the Smithscript video I was originally going to post today. Don't worry, I'm feeling fine. Probably. Let's start with the Swift Slash nerf. They actually changed a lot of parameters for Swift Slash, so I might add a pinned comment in the future, but I think the most important change is you no longer get stunned as easily by the after image slices because of the change to the vacuum effect. Honestly, still powerful in PvP because of how fast and how much distance it covers, despite having a large AoE. Another nerf would not surprise me at all, as I don't think the damage is the main issue to the Ashe. For the general balancing adjustments, let's talk about a big but sorely needed change for the Carian sorcery sword. And I want to talk about this quickly because I've been asked stuff like, "Hey Crit, is it true that this thrusting sword is now better than most staffs because it gets S-scaling in intelligence?" Or, "It is doing 90% of Carian Regal Scepter's damage." Both of which are not true, by the way. The in-scaling is indeed increased, but you're really looking at around 5% more attack on this weapon. And the most important thing that isn't mentioned is that the hidden sorcery scaling of this weapon is changed. This weapon doesn't show its sorcery scaling, unlike other catalysts, but it was completely, utterly garbage before. They increased the sorcery scaling by roughly 76%, which is a huge change. However, for most intelligence builds, this is very much still worse than most staffs, not better. This is closer to 70 to 77% of Carian Regal's damage at relevant levels for Carian Regal staff, depending on the spell you're casting. The sorcery sword basically scales like the demi-human queen staff, so it is pretty good at lower intelligence levels when, most of the other staffs aren't available. So it can't even be compared to Carian Regal at that time. I'm glad for this change, as it was indeed a useless thrusting sword before. But seriously guys, a small rant from me because of the misinformation I have to fix all the time. I don't watch other people's patch videos because why would I? Therefore, I'm not certain where else people are getting the information from, but logic tells me I can find it by searching for the fastest update video with the most views, because of how many of the same questions I'm getting. So why would you believe a video that's probably mostly a guy reading the patch notes and values speed over accuracy? Next, they extended the range for 2 Smithscript weapon throws. I don't know the precise range increase, because range data is difficult to get, but I think it is noticeable. This is nice, but unfortunately, other Smithscript weapons also sorely need a buff to their throwing attack, with their attack nerfed this patch. I'll talk more about this in the Smithscript section. Fix the bug that caused rolling sparks to deal more damage than expected. Yeah. I saw the missing parameter on the second day of the DLC, before the videos even came rolling in. I totally expected them to do a quick bug fix for the perfume themselves, so this is later than I thought. This now deals roughly 1/6 to 1/8 of the damage, because the bullets don't overlap anymore. They fixed the bug where the buffs on the right hand applied to some weapon art on the left hand. I've listed a few examples on screen, in addition to all the grease and death blights you can do as well. This fix is also totally expected, and definitely abused all over the place for PvP prior to the patch note. Although, I do want to say that Discus Hurl on the Smithscript shield is still a very strong weapon art, even without the bug. For 3 FP, it is way too spammable. I hope it gets a balance change where it deals a bit more damage, but costs more FP and is slower to cast, as you can repeatedly chuck out these discuses once per 1.2 seconds, despite its range, tracking, and stagger. Fix the bug when attacking with thrusting shield while guarding is consuming less stamina than intended. This one I thought was a feature actually. Not a balanced one for sure, but I thought it was intentional. You now take around 48.4% more stamina damage when guarding while attacking with thrusting shields, so it is quite the big nerf. Next, there was a bug that prevented players from doing a feint attack when you two-handed backhand blades. For those who don't know, a few weapon types like the thrusting sword and the new beast claws can do feint attacks when charging up a charged heavy attack. All you need to do is input dodge while charging the heavy attack to convert it into a feint attack. Next, another perfume bottle fix for overlapping too many hitboxes. Not too sure why these two perfume bottles in particular, but the perfume bottles definitely feel like they could use another look over, so they feel a bit more impactful. Fixed the bug for Bloodfiend's arm's arcane scaling, and also reduced the status buildup of heavy attacks. Okay, don't freak out about this chicken wing getting nerfed. It still has incredibly high status buildup. The actual amount of bleed buildup nerf is roughly 7.5%, so it's not a big deal. It most certainly still builds up a lot of bleed. With the heavy attack status nerf included, I believe it's around 13% bleed reduction total. I might be a tiny bit off, as this heavy attack is a bit weird to check, since the heavy attack also has the splash portion. Next, Gazing Finger's Faith scaling is fixed. Previously, investing into Faith yielded absolutely no additional attack value for this weapon, which was obviously a bug because it has Faith scaling. Maybe someone will make a new video on the newest, most OP newly buffed weapon, who knows. Fire Knight's Greatsword's damage animation against players was fixed. This is referring to its light attack chain. Its first light attack used to true combo into its second light attack. As this is a colossal sword, I definitely don't think they intended that to happen. It is a fat load of damage, so this is kind of expected. Oh, and finally, Smithscript weapons. I guess I can give a few screenshots of the original Smithscript weapon video I was working on. Smithscript weapons were bugged on 4 infusions: Flame, Sacred, Magic, and Code. Running any of these infusions allowed investing into either Faith or Intelligence to double dip and also increase the physical attack of the weapon, in addition to its elemental attack. This allowed Smithscript weapons to easily outstrip its peers in attack. For example, the lighter Smithscript spear had more attack than the Clayman, despite the Clayman's fame for having base intelligence scaling. In some cases, like the Smithscript axe, you reach a whopping 24.5% higher attack rating than its second highest peer. So yeah, it should be pretty obvious that this was a bug and not a feature. Unfortunately, I do find most of the Smithscript weapons throwing attacks extremely lackluster now that their attacks are nerfed. They could really use less damage drop-off to their throwing attacks, as they feel pretty pointless at a range now. And when I'm talking about damage drop-off, I mean a serious drop-off, like more than 60% of your damage loss on the spear and axe's case. The axe's range is already very short, and it didn't get a range buff either, so these ranged attacks basically only do just okay at a melee range, which is such a weird design. And I won't waste your time reading to you the rest of the less important patch notes. Like and subscribe if you want legit patch notes. Sorry, I can't crap these out faster than some people can BS. If you want to support my work, please consider buying my fantasy novel or donating to my Patreon down below. With a book purchase, you can also request a topic from me. Krite, signing out.